Have you ever felt like you don't know what you're doing? Well, most of the time that's because you're out of ideas. Now, ideas are a lot of things that can be influenced on you or could happen at moments notice when you're actually doing something by yourself. But either way, it can be really difficult to grasp ideas. Now, ideas can be unique or they can be influenced on you, which is what I think are the two other things, or that you could read upon them, research them, which is also a form of influence, and you could also be passed down ideas. So if there's someone older than you, you might want to have an idea about something. Let's say cooking. Cooking can be hard because you heard about it from someone, I guess. Which also sounds like influencing. So that's because you're not exposed. I wouldn't say exposed at this time of day, in this time of era. I would say it's because you're used to too much information. So a lot of information is being distributed and consumed on the internet nowadays. Back when I was young, the only amount of information I would get was from television, and I wouldn't watch television too much. I would sit around the couch with the family and play video games like Pokemon and things like that. And I used to play like N64, Super Smash Brothers, Grand Theft Auto, things like that. Things that wouldn't make sense, but I wasn't really much of a studier. So if you're having an issue getting ideas from somewhere, it's not because you're not really exposed to too much information. It's because you're sort of being influenced in a way that you're not supposed to. Competition. So there's other people who are interested in the same topic of interest and are interested in not letting you become successful in turn for their success to be more prevalent. Now, if you have yourself constantly studying, hoping for the best material to be consumed, let's say that you're reading a book to be a part of a bigger group such as a book club, that's okay. You guys all mutually agree to be a part of a book club. But if you're reading something for academic purposes, for like a job, there's a lot of competition behind that, and you have to stay on top of your focusing and your consumption of materials. So if you're not consuming the materials, you're not able to do enough to make sure that you stand out from the crowd in an academic sense. And you work hard through the competition and hope for the best through everything that's gone and done through. Because when you really get to the down and dirty, you're going to pass these on to someone who's younger than you. Now, if someone's older than you and they're passing down an idea, I suggest you really take into account of what you were doing before you were passed down that idea. So oftentimes you might really run into a lot of conundrums, a lot of problems that the same person who had gone down has passed down onto you. And it's not going to be fun, it's not going to be great, but that's just the cold reality of it. Oftentimes you might get the best side of your experience because you were actively listening and you were paying attention to what was going on when he was telling you or she was telling you that story of when they were going through. There's been a lot of wondering of what to do when you don't have any ideas. Let's say you're stuck on your bed and there's a lot of political turmoil going on, having you seized up in a single location in your room. You go outside, you go out for a walk, and everyone's talking about the same thing, and it's not really going anywhere. At this point, you found yourself in a politically bad position and you want to get out of that situation and free your mind. However, if you are really experienced, let's say you're a little bit older, and you sort of understand that sooner or later that politically bad side of the politics that's been affecting you and people are figuring out what to do, it's going to turn over and it's going to come back to haunt you once you get out of the whole situation. So it's not really going to haunt you, but it's going to come back and it's going to remind you that people have spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out what to do about a political situation. So right now we're talking about the Israel-Gaza situation. No one knows what to do about it, but people are talking about it all the time. It's what's going on. People are looking at what the U.S. is doing. People are looking at what China is doing. People are looking at what India is doing, what Africa is doing, what Latin America is doing about it. People don't know what's going on, but right now it's really annoying. So if you run out of ideas in this sort of time, feel free to play some video games. Video games are really active. It's 45 minutes, say it's 10 minutes you play League of Legends, you play Call of Duty, Halo or something, Fortnite. Those games are really good for you. Feel free to explore video games as a side alternative, or either that, or you could spend time in the academic sector studying at this time, like most college students are, utilizing their time appropriately. And then at the end of the whole political dilemma, there's a change in politics that they have to adjust to. Now, if you don't want to study or you don't want to play video games, you can always get into stocks or the whole e-commerce or business market of marketing. Now, if you spend time and money marketing something at this particular time, you have a solid conclusion of what you want the direction of your company to go to, because you realize that whatever's going on in Israel and Gaza is going to be beneficial for your company. Although the president or some political advisory has advised you not to take action, take advantage of this whole situation, then you'll probably realize that at the end of the whole political situation, you're probably going to have to realize that he's going to take an action, direction towards it, and it's going to pan out, and everyone's going to be like, oh, this is what happened during the Israel-Gaza conflict. The USA is involved, things like that. But people also rely on the USA being involved in mostly a lot of things for a lot of money. So let's say that the USA is also involved in Canada's dispute with India and Canada. So India and Canada have a dispute over of killing of a separatist movement leader, and the USA is involved. Obviously, the USA is involved with that, and we want to take a political and marketing objective to having a foot towards making profits. The only way we can make profits through that is by choosing a side or being neutral, right? Or having company members or employees choose both sides. That way you get multiple perspectives and things like that. But either way, if you want to do that, you can do that too. But be aware that a lot of this whole bullshit is going to be fucking flipping around, and then the government's going to decide what to do about it, or these political leaders are going to decide what to do about it. And by it, we mean the Israel-Gaza conundrum that's affecting the world, that's taking headlines for the past week. There's also the Russian-Ukraine war, which America's interest has really interested in Ukraine, and not really has taken the opinion of Russia, which I find quite uncharacteristic of the United States. I thought that they would take multiple positions on the Russia-Ukraine war, but they didn't. Now we are here stuck with choosing sides, but we should remain diligent in studies and marketing objectives to be able to make money, because at the end of the day, the farmer gets the spice from the farm and sells it to the European. Today, it's about everyone. The farmer gets the spice and sells it to everyone. Except they have farms all around the world, which we never talked about, but it doesn't really matter because we all know where those spices came from. Sometimes you hear a lot of politics or political leaders or politicians talk about getting in contact with them and voting. Well, if you have any problem with your neighborhood, you might as well contact them now that you have the internet, and have them shove it up their ass. Now, the other side of this is the USA having great immigration. Immigration is great and all, but a lot of people come from different parts of the world and they have no idea what's going on with the entire USA, and they're not sort of part of the system. I would say I'm a part of the system, but I realize that I don't really care about the system because of my historical context and how we use history to dictate our future, and how we use marketing trends of the past, marketing trends of the near future to create money and wealth. So if you do have any sort of redundancies, you make sure that you see them out, because I forget.